What's going on, LEGO Maniacs, and welcome back to a brand new video. I am ZacATK. Today we're going to be rewinding it all the way back to the year 2000, and we're going to be looking at set number 7180, the B-Wing at the Rebel base. This retailed originally for $29.99 USD, and this was back in the year 2000. And what's crazy about this LEGO set, this is my very first LEGO Star Wars LEGO set. That's right, this is the set that set off my collection enthusiasm for the LEGO Star Wars theme. And let me just go ahead and tell you, I spent a couple of days going through my entire set inventory, trying to find all the parts from the instructions, which shout out to LEGO for having all the instructions available for all your sets on your website for free to download. I was able to print out this instruction copy, and this is one-to-one to the T exact instructions from back in the day. And what I really loved about this set was just going through and piece hunting, but also remembering when I first built the set as an 8-year-old kid, and just going back and remembering I got this for Christmas, and just having all the feels just kind of hit you. It was just like a smack in the face.
Oh, getting personal, eh?
Almost. And it was a good one. And just going back and building this and going through the instructions and just remembering just everything from back then, from when LEGO Star Wars was all fresh and new, and just my introduction to the LEGO hobby as it was just back then with my 3 original sets, which is we still have one more review for my retro LEGO reviews before we move on to other stuff. But I just want to take the time out to review this set and share a little bit of my childhood with you guys. So if you're excited for that, be sure and smash like button, subscribe for more videos. I post videos every Monday. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the retro LEGO review. So here we have set number 7180, and this is the LEGO B-Wing at the Rebel Control Center. Like I mentioned before, this set came with 327 pieces and retailed for $29.99 back in the year 2000. It came with this awesome little vehicle here. It's like a tool truck with a trailer attached to it that has a tool here attached to this crane, and it came with 3 minifigures, a cool astromech droid, and then a Rebel pilot, and we also received a engineer. Right, now that we have the minifigures out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about some of the builds with the set leading up to the ship. So we have the Rebel base here, which is a really neat little build, really repetitive in some instances with building these columns and whatnot, and a handful of other pieces. But what's neat about the set is this part of the build, it actually opens up kind of like a dollhouse style, where it expands out to where you have a much bigger base, and so you can position your vehicle here on the side here. You could have the astromech droid coming from over here with the control panel. You can have your Rebel pilot here. He could be sitting here working on this little computer over here, and it comes with a really nice little printed element here, which is this transparent 2x2 or 2x4 or 4x4 window here that is really nice. It's a little transparent tile of the Death Star here, which is really nice. The Death Star on the far side of the indoor moon, which is really nice. So we can actually put this back over here now. And so the whole idea of the set is just a little base for your pilot to hang out at. He has a neat little engineer friend over here, and there's a couple of neat little play features in addition to this spreading out like it can. So if we put it all back together real quick, we actually have a neat little door function here where we can spread the door apart, just like the doors in Star Wars, where they are automated and close, open, and slide just like that, which I think is really nice. A nice little touch for the set. And there's a lot of these little keypad elements here that I like to put everywhere inside this build. In fact, I believe there's 8 of these total in the set. So you have 2 right here, and then another 2 on this little control panel here, which I'll show you that real quick. A little bird's eye view of him working at his workstation there. And there's 2 more, I believe, inside of the ship itself. So neat little fun build here with this little Rebel base, and it's just nice how you can open this up to really expand the land of play here with all the minifigures and whatnot. And let's go ahead and take a look at this cart. So this cart is really neat because you can actually disconnect it, and it actually has a neat little tool tray here, which this little tool tray actually came with 2 more tools. It came with a hammer and a screwdriver. Those, unfortunately, I no longer have. Those got lost. but just this simple, neat little build. They also used a lot of these transparent 1x2 lime green pieces, which I thought was really cool. And the cart is just really simple, just a couple of pieces, these little sliding rounded tiles here, inverted tiles you can put on this little trailer, and that connects back just like that. This little device is really interesting because it has like this little satellite dish on it, it has the saw on it, and it's another one of these Technic ratcheting arms that you can move back and forth and up and down and position it to where you could, I guess, work on the B wing if you wanted to, which is nice. It's just a nice little build, and you know, I thought it would be top heavy with this little crane, this little arm and whatnot, but it's actually not. It's really just really steady no matter which way you position it. It gets a little heavy there, but I guess that's why they added this trailer here, which keeps everything nice and balanced, and we can put the tools back on here. We can take our little engineer guy and we can actually put him just like that and give him this little lever. That way he can drive this little trolley and move it back and forth and out of the way. I think it's kind of neat they went with the direction of these tiles as opposed to wheels, that it does give it the illusion that it is levitating and just kind of sliding around and levitating off the ground. And it's just a really nice little play feature where you have just an additional way of play for what you're doing with the set, which I think is nice. Back then, I feel like LEGO Star Wars really had the idea of the way of play with these things and just kind of added a handful of more features that probably really weren't asked for, but as a fellow 90s kid, I feel like they really understood the 90s kids back then with just these parts and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and put it over here off to the side. And let's go ahead and talk about the B-Wing here. So the B-Wing is super nice. I'm talking about, this is probably one of the nicer ships in this era of LEGO Star Wars. So I'm going to take it off the stand here that I made for it, and I'm going to put it back into its parked mode, I guess, or landed mode. And we'll go over a handful of things with it here. In fact, I'm going to take the camera off of the tripod. That way we can get a little bit more personal with this set and go over a lot of the details with this B-Wing. And this is a set that I'm honestly really looking forward to LEGO re-releasing an updated version of it one day soon. I think that'd be really nice of them to do, maybe like an anniversary set. 30 years of LEGO Star Wars, and this is one of the sets that's going to be in the line. So the B-Wing is really simple. A couple of Technic builds here and there, and really not a lot going on with this as far as just parts wise. This is honestly less part intensive than the base was, which the base took a ton of parts, believe it or not. I'm sure there's maybe a handful of more parts to this. It looks bigger because of these long plate pieces that they use, but let's go ahead and take a look at a handful of things. We have these really nice canisters here, these cannons and whatnot. These I had to improvise. These aren't original to the set. I didn't have any more of those pole pieces, so I had to make my own in order to finish this build off. But the guns in the set are really nice. This is back before stud shooters were a thing, so I can really appreciate having actual cannons on this set that have these little 1x1 rounded studs here, which is nice. And no stickers in the set. There are 0 stickers in the set. I forgot to mention that earlier. Everything is printed, everything. In fact, there's only really kind of, I guess, one printed thing, and that is this tile right here. These 1x4 printed tiles. There's actually 4 of them in this set, and you use all 4 of them on this ship and on the, I think there's 3 actually. There's only 3 of them. There's 2 here and 1 on the little trolley over there. So let's look at the back here and go over a couple of the play features that it has going on here. We have the wings, of course, that open up, and I'll show you that here in a second. But we actually have a little back door here where the thrusters are. You can actually open this up, and this is a neat little storage area. For the longest time, I always wanted the droid to kind of sit where you would think a droid would sit on a B-Wing like it does on the X-Wing or any other ship. And you'd also think that the droid would fit in here, but it does not. You can try and put him in sideways like that, and you can't really close the cockpit there, which is unfortunate. So the droid can't come with you on long missions. You could, in theory, I guess, take off this top section here and slip the droid in that way, but I guess he's just supposed to hang out at the Rebel base here. So we're going to close that back up. And another cool feature of the set is the rotating cockpit. So we can actually, no matter which way we hold the B-wing, the cockpit will somewhat rotate to be level, which I think is pretty nice. The main feature, of course, is getting the B-wing into its flight mode, which we can actually open the wings up just like that, and really strong ratcheting mechanism for the year 2000. I can really appreciate this mechanism working as well as it does, and for 30-year-old pieces, I have to say this does a really good job of still holding true to this day. You can kind of see these really nice little thrusters here. You could also, I guess, use these as cannons if you wanted to, or blasters, and just a really basic build. Not too much stuff going on in the wings, just a couple of details there with those little rounded 2x2 tiles there in volunteer orange, and not a whole lot of detail on the back side of the wing, but still a very, very nice ship. And my favorite part of it is the cockpit there, which, let's go ahead and take a look at the cockpit here, and we'll definitely do a swooshability test here. But the cockpit opens up just like that, and a lot of these pieces are original. I was able to actually get 95% of the pieces for this set. It took me a long time to hunt them down in my collection, but I definitely did. Some of them were in use elsewhere, but you can place your Rebel pilot in there and close the lid, and this hinge piece has definitely been used quite a bit, but he just hangs out in there. And for a little imaginative play here, for me as a kid, I always imagined this as also doubling as an escape pod, because this likes to come off pretty easily from this back counterweight here, and so you could use this as an escape pod. If the ship was ever going to crash and burn, you could use this as an escape pod and, you know, drop this off on whatever planet you are pretending to play on top of in the space above it. So just a neat little feature there, and that just slots back in it just like so, using those little Technic 1x2 bricks. And this is just a very nice ship. It's not as detailed as what we come to expect now with LEGO Star Wars in 2025, but just honestly one of my favorite ships that LEGO has ever produced. And of course, in the series, I loved how they covered this ship in Rebels and how they kind of introduced the B-wing to the Star Wars universe in the way how they did it in Rebels. But just overall a nice build, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to incorporate everything in the LEGO Star Wars for my collection with this ship, because it kind of looks out of place considering how old it is and doesn't really look quote unquote as nice as the other ones, but it's nice. I like it. It looks nice for me, and I'm going to try and figure out a really, really nice place in order to display my LEGO B-wing. And hey, LEGO, if you're listening, if you're watching, I would love to see a 30th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars B-wing, a much more upscale one, not a UCS one. Let's keep it play scale. And obviously, I know it's going to be double the price from the year 2000, but hey, $60. Can we get a B-wing for $60, please? Everyone who wants that, I'd love for you to comment that down below, letting LEGO know, like, hey, let's have another B-wing for the 30th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars. But these are all of the neat little builds that come with this set. I'd love to know your thoughts of it in the comment section down below. Which one is your favorite part of the B-wing at the Rebel base? Personally, I really like the B-wing the most. I do love the Rebel base and all of its functionality of being able to open up and expand and give yourself a more larger base and a more large area for play, and it's just really nice. The only thing I don't really like about the set is how poor the doors work. Of course, these are 30-year-old pieces for the most part, so I will have to give a little grace there, but I do remember these as a kid working a whole lot better, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. Maybe I need to sneak a little grease in that sliding mechanism. Maybe it'll open up a little better. Now comes the big test to see how swooshable a 30-year-old LEGO Star Wars set is in the year 2025. So almost 30-year-old. We're getting there. 5 more years, the sucker will be 30 years old. Not quite as old as me, but we're getting there. So let's go ahead and line this up. Make sure I don't knock my chair into the desk like I did last time. I'm just going to scoot out just for good measure. And let's just see how swooshable a 30-year-old LEGO Star Wars set is. So wish me luck in 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, I'd say she's pretty swooshable. Give a couple good turns here. Oh yeah, definitely swooshable. 10 out of 10 swooshability. This is my favorite part of the review, by the way. Just me spinning in my chair. I planned this, by the way. All day. I can do this all day, literally. Alright, so 30 years later, almost. Whew, a little dizzy. But the LEGO Star Wars B-Wing is definitely very swooshable. And I'm very dizzy. That was a little too much. A little too much for me. Alright, LEGO Maniacs, going to wrap up my retro review of the LEGO Star Wars B-Wing at the Rebel Base. I'd love to know your thoughts of this set in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, I'd greatly appreciate if you'd smash the like button, subscribe for more videos. Like I said, we post videos every Monday. And next time we're going to do another retro review, and it's going to be of this really awesome space shuttle set that I had. I was going to do it this week, but I decided, you know what, I just finished this. I'm super excited about this, so I'm going to go ahead and knock this out now. But anyways, let me know what you think of the set in the comment section down below. You guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and friends, keep building, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on my social media. Links for all things in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next video.